Welcome back to the deep dive. This is where we really get into the details, cut through the noise, and find what matters.
Yep, exactly.
Today, we're looking at Adobe. Specifically, their latest numbers, Q2 for fiscal 2025, which ended May 30th. We're digging into their results and, their strategy.
And we've got the key stuff here, the press release, that investor data sheet, which gives context, and bits from the earnings call presentation, too.
Right. And our goal, as always, is to pull out the most important insights from all this for you, so you can quickly get a handle on what's driving Adobe, especially, it seems, with all the focus on AI.
Yeah, AI is definitely a huge theme here.
So think of this as your fast track to understanding Adobe's pulse right now. Let's jump straight into the performance highlights. What are the big numbers?
Okay, headlines for Q2. They hit record revenue, $5.87 billion.
Record revenue.
And that's up 11% compared to last year. That's both as reported and in constant currency, so pretty solid growth.
11% growth on record revenue. Nice start.
Yeah.
What about earnings, profitability?
Good question. So GAAP diluted EPS, that was $3.94. But, companies often point to non-GAAP.
Right, the adjusted number.
Exactly. It kind of filters out some things like stock compensation.
Right.
And the non-GAAP EPS was $5.06. That's up 13% year over year. So decent growth there, too.
Okay, so healthy growth, top line, and on that non-GAAP basis, bottom line as well. Anything else financially jump out?
Yeah, definitely. Cash flow from operations was really strong, $2.19 billion. They made a point of saying that's a record for their Q2.
A record cash flow number 2? Okay.
And they're continuing to buy back stock. They repurchased about 8.6 million shares in the quarter. It's part of a $3.5 billion agreement they had. And they still have quite a bit left on their big authorization from last year, like $10.9 billion remaining out of $25 billion.
That strong cash flow, the buybacks, it suggests confidence, right? So beyond just the numbers, what's the strategy driving all this? What are they saying?
Well, the CEO, Shantan Narayan, he framed it around serving these massive growing audiences. They sort of think in two big buckets. You've got business professionals and consumers kind of grouped together, and then the more traditional creative and marketing professionals.
And across both of those, the constant theme, the buzzword is AI. It seemed to be everywhere in the materials.
Absolutely. Both the CEO and the CFO, Dan Dern, were really hammering home AI innovation as the key accelerant. The CEO said it's like fundamentally changing industries, enabling new levels of creativity and productivity. And the CFO basically added, look, we're intentionally investing heavily in AI across all our customer groups. The idea is to boost the value they offer and really grow the whole universe of potential customers.
That makes sense. It's not just like a feature sprinkle. It sounds more fundamental, redefining who uses their tools and what they can do. So let's see how that plays out. How did the big digital media segment do?
Right. Digital media, that's Creative Cloud, Acrobat, the big stuff. It did well. Revenue was $4.35 billion.
Okay.
That's up 11% year over year, or 12% in constant currency.
And for a subscription business like Adobe's, that annualized recurring revenue, ARR, is super important. How did that look?
Yeah, ARR is key. Exiting Q2, digital media ARR hit $18.09 billion. So still climbing. That's 12.1% growth compared to last year. The predictable revenue base is expanding nicely.
Okay, $18 billion in recurring revenue. Let's break that down a bit more using those customer groups you mentioned. First, the business professionals and consumers. What's the story there?
So this group uses products like Acrobat and Express. Tools blending creativity and productivity for, well, maybe not the traditional designer, but everyday users.
Right.
And the sources really emphasize AI here for things like AI-assisted consumption, understanding documents faster with Acrobat AI Assistant, and also for creating visuals more easily with Express.
So making powerful tools more accessible, is that the idea?
Exactly. And the numbers seem to back that up. They talked about huge growth in monthly active users, MAU, across Acrobat and Express combined. It's over 700 million now.
Wow, 700 million.
Yeah, and the growth rate is accelerating. Over 25% year-over-year growth in MAU. A lot of that's driven by the freemium versions, pulling tons of users in.
It's a massive user base. Are people using Acrobat and Express together more? Is there synergy?
Yes, and that was a key point they stressed. People are using Express features from within Acrobat much more, like using Express stuff right in their PDF workflow.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the usage of those integrated features jumped roughly 3x just quarter over quarter. And get this, 11x year over year.
11 times year over year.
Yeah, 11x year over year growth in MAU using Express features via Acrobat. It really suggests that integration is working, adding value, making things sticky.
That 11x jump is pretty telling. How's that translating to dollars for this group?
Subscription revenue for this business pros and consumer segment hit $1.60 billion in Q2. That's 15% year-over-year growth. Pretty strong.
And is it broad adoption, like different kinds of users?
Yeah, they specifically mentioned that. Students, for example, over 75% year-over-year jump in access to the premium AI stuff in Acrobat and Express.
Okay.
And new businesses, they added over 35,000 in Q2. Express alone brought in about 8,000 of those, which is like 6x growth year-over-year for Express winning new businesses. They even name-dropped big companies in sports leagues, Microsoft, ServiceNow, Workday, Intuit, MLB, NFL, the Premier League, using these tools.
So really broad, from students to the NFL.
Yeah.
Any other sort of highlights for this segment that caught your eye?
Well, a few things. Acrobat link sharing, which helps things go viral, saw MAU grow over 20% year-over-year. Usage of the generative AI features, like AI Assistant in Acrobat and the Gen AI in Express, that grew over 3x year-over-year. Wow. Engagement with that AI Assistant in Acrobat, measured by questions asked, nearly doubled quarter-over-quarter. The Express partner ecosystem, adding integrations, grew over 25% quarter-over-quarter, with new links to Google Ads, Vimeo, Bitly, and yeah, customer wins like Cisco, LA County, Macy's.com, Ulta Beauty. It really paints a picture of, broad adoption fueled by AI and integration.
Okay, clear picture on that side. Now, let's flip to the other part of digital media, the creative and marketing professionals, Adobe's traditional stronghold. But AI is shaking things up here too, right?
Oh, absolutely. The demand for top-notch creative tools across images, video, design, you name it, is huge. And AI is becoming, essential for these pros.
And Adobe's big answer here seems to be Firefly.
Yes, they're positioning the Firefly app as the, quote, creative AI destination. The idea is one place for pros to generate stuff in different formats with lots of creative control. And this is key. It integrates with the Creative Cloud apps they already live in, like Photoshop or Premiere.
So it works with Creative Cloud, not replacing it.
Exactly, augmenting it. They talked of their own Firefly models, like Image Model 4 for Ultra, and the Firefly video model is now generally available, which is a big step.
What was interesting, though, was they also talked about supporting AI models from other companies, too, not just Adobe's own.
Yeah, that's a really strategic point.
Yeah.
The Firefly app is designed to be open. It supports models from Google, like Imagen and Veo, OpenAI's image model, Black Forest Labs Flux. And they said more are coming, like Runway, Luma, Pika. The thinking seems to be offer flexibility, give pros access to a wider range of AI tools, but do it within Adobe's ecosystem, where they emphasize IP safety and transparency. That's huge for commercial work.
Right. Safety and commercial use is key for professionals. So an open approach, but within their trusted environment. How are they monetizing Firefly now?
They've launched new Firefly app subscription plans globally. And there's a Creative Cloud Pro, bundle all the apps plus Firefly that's out in North America with plans to expand.
Is it actually bringing people in, driving engagement?
The numbers suggest yes. Firefly app traffic was up over 30% quarter-over-quarter. Paid subscriptions for the app nearly doubled in that time.
Doubled, okay.
And Firefly seems to be a major entry point for new users.
Yeah.
First-time Adobe subscribers grew more than 30% quarter-over-quarter, and they directly linked that surge to Firefly.
Okay, so it's drawing new people in. Any other big news for the creative pros?
Yeah, they also launched Photoshop Mobile, made big updates to other key apps like Illustrator, Premiere Pro. These updates got a ton of attention, over 350 million video views on social media.
Wow.
And the sheer volume of generative AI use across all their tools, generative fill, remove, the video stuff, it's kind of mind-boggling. They said cumulative generations exceeded 24 billion exiting Q2.
24 billion.
Billion, yeah. It just shows the scale of how AI is being woven into creative work. They also mentioned wins like Cisco, San Diego County, DTTT, Wells Fargo using these creative tools.
That 24 billion number really sticks with you. Okay, so digital media, both sides, heavily leaning into AI, driving growth. Let's pivot now to the other big segment, digital experience. What's the story there?
Right. Digital experience. This is for the marketers, the enterprises,
Yeah.
helping them manage and deliver personalized digital experiences, at scale. They also had a solid Q2. Revenue hit $1.46 billion. That's 10% growth year over year, same in constant currency.
Okay.
And their subscription revenue within DX was $1.33 billion, up 11%. They made a point of saying this makes them the largest provider in this category. based on the sources.
So this is all about connecting with customers through content, personalization.
Exactly. Their big strategy phrase here is customer experience orchestration, basically unifying the whole marketing workflow from creating content to managing it, delivering it, activating campaigns, measuring results. It's about blending creativity, marketing tech, and what they keep calling agentic AI.
Agentic AI again. What does that mean in a marketing context?
Well, here it means AI that can handle more complex, multi-step marketing tasks, sort of automating parts of the workflow, making intelligent decisions. And a key product built around this is Adobe GenStudio.
Ah, yes, Gen Studio. What problem is that solving for marketers?
It's designed to optimize the whole content supply chain, planning, creating, managing, activating, measuring the whole life cycle. They highlighted GenStudio Foundation for Unified Insights and GenStudio for Performance Marketing, which helps teams create and deploy ads for places like Google and Meta more effectively.
Is Firefly involved here too, or is it separate?
No, it's involved. Firefly services and custom models are part of the DX Enterprise offering. Think things like automatically reframing videos for different platforms or supporting custom AI models trained on a company's specific data or style. Again, often bringing in third-party models for flexibility too. They gave a really cool example, Project Fission with Coca-Cola.
Project Fishing. Tell me more about that.
So it's an AI system they co-developed using Firefly services and custom models. The goal was to help Coke massively scale up creative production they mentioned up to 10 times faster.
10 times. Wow.
Wow. And this is critical for a big brand, making sure everything stays perfectly on brand, following all the guidelines. That's a huge challenge when you use AI for content at scale.
That's a great example of AI tackling a real business problem. How does the Adobe Experience Platform, AEP, fit into all this?
AEP is still central. It's the foundation for delivering those unified, personalized experiences. They're trying to make it easier to use all the data in AEP with this new AEP AI assistant. The idea is you can just use natural language type questions to get insights, build audience segments, prepare campaigns.
Making the data more accessible.
Right. And those agentic AI capabilities you mentioned, they're building those into AEP too. Native AI agents for smarter real-time customer journey stuff. They give an example of a product support agent, an AI designed to help companies predict customer problems, troubleshoot automatically, guide resolutions, using AI to automate really complex customer interactions.
So AI isn't just for content creation, it's woven through the whole marketing and support process. Who's using these DX tools? Any big names mentioned?
Yeah, they highlighted the NFL expanding its partnership across all 32 clubs, using Adobe tools, increasingly with AI, for basically everything from project management to fan experiences. Wegmans Food Markets and Dentsu Merkle were also called out as using that new product support agent.
Okay. Any other signs of momentum in DX?
Yep. AEP and apps subscription revenue grew over 40% year over year, which is strong. GenStudio for Performance Marketing adoption grew over 45% just quarter over quarter. And that Firefly services and custom models ARR linked to GenStudio was up 4x year over year. Plus, they got nods from analysts like Forrester, IDC, Gartner, and key partners like AWS, Microsoft, SAP endorse them.
All right, so strong Q2, clear AI strategy playing out across both major segments. Did this lead them to update their forecast for the whole fiscal year?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Based on the strong first half, they raised their full year targets for FY 2025.
Okay, let's get those updated figures.
So total revenue for the year, the new target is between $23.50 billion and $23.60 billion.
Okay.
For digital media revenue, that's now $17.45 billion, $17.5 billion. They kept the digital media ARR growth target the same, though, at 11.0% year over year.
Okay, and digital experience.
Digital experience revenue target stayed put, $5.80 billion to $5.90 billion. Same for the subscription revenue within that, $5.375 billion to $5.425 billion.
Got it. What about earnings per share? Did those get bumped up?
They did. The raised GAAP EPS target for the year is $16 to $16.50, and the non-GAAP EPS target is now $20 and $50.70.
Okay.
And they also put a specific number on the AI monetization. They said they're on track to surpass $250 million in AI-first direct ARR book of business by the end of the fiscal year.
Ah, $250 million AI-first ARR target. That's concrete. What about RPO, remaining performance obligations? What does that tell us?
Right. RPO is basically their backlog contracted future revenue. Exiting Q2, total RPO was $19.69 billion. That's up 10% year over year, or 11% in constant currency.
So a healthy backlog.
Yeah, and the current portion CRPO, what they expect to recognize in the next 12 months, was 67% of that total, also growing 10% year over year. So yeah, solid future revenue pipeline.
And geographically, still mostly Americas.
Yep, the data sheet confirms that. America 60%, EMEA 26%, Asia 14%. Pretty consistent.
Okay, so we've hit the Q2 numbers, the AI strategy, how it's playing out in digital media and digital experience, and the updated targets. Let's try and wrap this up.
Sure. I mean, the key takeaways are pretty clear. Adobe had a really strong Q2 record revenue, good earnings growth, driven heavily by AI innovation.
Right.
And that AI isn't just talk. It's translating into product adoption, revenue growth across all the different customer types, individuals, small businesses, creatives, big enterprises. And because of that, they're confident enough to raise their targets for the rest of the year.
So for you listening, why does this matter? Well, it's a really clear case study of how a major tech player is actually using AI right now across different markets. It's not just theory. It's driving real results, changing how people create, how they work, how companies engage with customers. It gives you a window into how a giant like Adobe is really reshaping itself for this AI era.
Yeah, and thinking about that reshaping, that one number really jumped out at me, the over 24 billion cumulative generative AI generations.
That 24 billion number, again, yeah, it's kind of staggering when you think about it.
It really is.
Hmm.
And it makes you wonder, right? What does that mean? When you have AI creating or helping create content on that kind of massive scale, what does it do to creativity itself, to how we consume information? What happens to digital experiences when generating billions of pieces of content becomes, well, almost routine?
Definitely something to think about. How does that sheer scale change everything?
Okay, we've sifted through the sources. Hopefully this gives you the core insights you need on Adobe's current direction and performance.